placements. Let's get into it. So the first card you have, Gemini, is the Four of Cups at in the upright for you. It further down below says, you have been on that brick wall for a while now, and you have examined that cup with a thoroughness. You know this cup, you know its weight, you know the texture, contents, history, symbolic significance, its relationship to all the other cups you have ever held, and its possible implications for every cup you might hold in the future. So, Gemini, you know this cup completely, but there is another cup which is waiting for you, and you're not noticing it. That's the true gift. And all you need to do is look up. Yeah, if Father says, the cup you have been holding is true. Every thought you have had about it was worth having. The examination is complete. The cup has told you everything it had to tell. And the one that is waiting for you has barely just begun. So basically, Gemini, you're thinking something over and over again, playing something in your head, considering 1,000 scenarios, what if this, what if that, but you're not ready to break that loop of thinking, overthinking. The analysis paralysis phase is not over for you. You're not letting it go. You're afraid to act, I feel. Look at the figure. She's holding the smaller cup, even though the bigger cup is waiting for her. You know, you're the air sign and Four of Cups is the water sign. You're clearly not in your element right now, Gemini. And that's what you need to be. You need to step into your element. If you see this picture, the person's eye is closed who's holding this small cup. And if you see the bottom picture, it's a completely different image. You know, the cup that she's holding is broken. The bigger cup is also broken. It's starting to break, at least, is what I feel. And what you are doing is you're just overanalyzing with your eyes closed. You're just repeatedly thinking the same thing over and over again. And you're not even opening your eyes to look at the big cup. The big cup is a blessing. You know, Jupiter is in Cancer. I feel that the Jupiter in blessing is waiting on you to open your eyes to see the opportunity, whether it's in, you know, career or any other side gig, whatever this is, there is an opportunity which is waiting for you. But you're not paying attention to that. I feel you've just been thinking about something, playing 100 scenarios for a long, long time now. You know, you go like this, that, put in different directions. You're considering 360-degree perspectives, a scenario A, B, and all of that. But you're not ready to act as yet. You might be spending a lot of time alone. I feel that you're kind of, you know, on the social media, spending a lot of time, you know, just like, you know, withdrawing from a lot of people. Maybe you just want to stay by yourself, immerse yourself in social media. You're not ready to, you know, open your eyes and take the right steps. You know, after all the thinking that you've been doing, it's time to bring that to a close. And what have you decided after that? You felt it. You've processed those emotions, those thoughts. Oh, what are you going to do with that now? With that processing what you have learned? What are you going to do with that wisdom that you have gained? So basically, you know, whatever these experiences you have had, Gemini, feel that you have, you know, you've been through it, you've experienced it, you've felt the emotions, you've processed it. And now, you know, it's like you've been thinking, you've been contemplating about everything, you've been processing it, it's completed, it's done. There's nothing more for you to feel, understand. The question is, what are you going to do now with everything that you have understood? And with you, Gemini, you're the air sign, you're the communicator sign. You process pastoral things like no other. You know, you thrive on connections, you thrive on being other in the world. Here, your focus is turned within yourself. So you're not really interacting too much with people. But I feel that, you know, you're the air sign, you're the mutable air sign. And this Four of Cups is a moon in Cancer. It's a highly deeply, you know, emotional, contemplative energy. It's completely opposite. You might be feeling like the push and pull. You know, Like, what do I do? What am I feeling? And what am I really feeling? You're not able to understand clearly. You don't know what to feel, what to say. But I feel this is going to change very soon, Gemini, for you. Now, if you see the Four of Cups is actually in the third tarot, it's also known as a lot of blended pleasure. That's the name of it. And what does blended pleasure mean? Like, in the cup, when it comes to sentiment, there's all kind of sentiments. There's happiness, there's joy, there's anger, there's everything. Here, there is some kind of sorrow. And of course, cups are happiness too. So these mixed emotions out here, I feel. But the cup that you're holding in your hand is the experience that has taught you a lot. You need to learn something, and you've learned it. Sorry about that noise. Now, for the planetary alignments for you, Gemini, I feel that you're going to feel an urgent push to act, to say something, to break the silence, to break the loop of thinking. It's that moment, the transition between thinking, and then doing whatever you decided you would do after you've concluded your thinking. So Gemini, like, while, you're the air sign, you like to think, you're very logical, you live in your head most of the time. You like to see things from all perspective, examine all sides of the coin, all consequences, and everything. You like to weigh up the pros and cons. But then when it's overdone, it kind of, becomes an obsessive cycle. It becomes a loop that needs to be broken. Because you really don't want to miss the opportunity, the blessings that are sitting here. The big cup on the wall. It gives me the energy of Jupiter. And Jupiter right now is in Cancer, which is your neighboring sign. It's the blessing that's going to grow. It's waiting for you to look at it, And that's the true, I would say it's the true gift, because it's out there waiting for you. But don't ignore it for way too long before it's gone. Now, for some of you, this could be that, you're just kind of keeping busy. You don't want to take the decision. You don't want to act. You're just like, maybe you're just keeping yourself busy. I do feel a lot of you might be just, in your inner world, or might be by yourself. Maybe just reading books or being on social media, like, without engagement. I feel that you're not, like, having those conversations like you need to. Or it could be, you're stuck in a loop. Maybe you're just thinking about the same thing over and over again. Or you're just talking. You're seeing the same thing over and over again. It could be with different people, but it's like you're just discussing the same thing with different people. Because this is going to put you in a state of being dissatisfied with everything good that you have going on around you. So, Gemini, instead of just, contemplating and just, keeping yourself busy with things that don't matter, it's better that, whatever you need to do, the next steps, don't be afraid. Just go for it. Whether it's sending out a message, texting, don't just I feel some Geminis are also, like, kind of, looking at people's social media, but they're not able to say anything. They're not able to reach out is the kind of energy that I get from this. So, instead of just kind of distracting yourself by keeping busy with things that are not emotionally engaging, that don't bring satisfaction, do things that will actually make you happy. Now, for some of you, this could be that you took a break from your previous job, and now after years of contemplating what you want, upskilling and trying different things, you kind of almost making up your mind exactly what you want to do on your career path. This can also be about purchase of items. Like, you might be wondering, like, you might be thinking, do I want this kind of a house? Do I want to move to this kind of city? You maybe have been thinking, analyzing, looking at PISCES things, and now you're probably coming to a conclusion very soon. I'm getting an energy of a Gemini who, like, picks up their phone, opens a certain type of app, puts on the phone, like, no, I'm not going to look at it. And then again goes back to the phone, again does that, and puts it away. I mean, something like that is going on in a loop with you. For some of you, this could be that, I also feel that most of you are not really present where you need to be. You're like physically present, but mentally you're somewhere else. So you need to come back to where you are, Gemini. Live in the moment. Now, for some of you, this could be like a decision fatigue that's going on. Like, for example, you go to a store and you're sitting there, you're standing there looking at items, one item to another. It's been a long time, but you cannot decide which one you really want to bring home. Now, for some of you, I feel that you're not looking at, the new things that are being offered. Like, for example, if you go to a coffee shop and you're used to ordering a certain type of coffee, but on the menu there are so many new seasonal items, but you're not trying those different items because you're just habitual of drinking a certain type of coffee, so you just want that, and you're not trying different things that are available, seasonal items that are available. So I feel that you need to make certain changes, Gemini. It's like, if you're trying to reach out, if you've been, wanting to say something, you've been wanting to text, do it. And say yes to things before, your mind takes over and you say no, or, you decide something else. So try to be in the moment, It's like, Geminis are submersed and immersed in their phones. So release that phone, Gemini. I feel like saying release the phone and look at the person who's talking to you. Make that eye contact. And I feel that you are going to make that final move, your age. See, your ruler is Mercury. You're ruled by Mercury. And Mercury right now is in the sign of Aries. So there is an urgency right now, for you to be bold, be very clear, and, say things. Say things, mean what you say what you mean. Now, if this is not your energy, Gemini, it could be the energy of people around you. The Four of Cups, where people have been procrastinating and now they're ready to have those conversations. Maybe they were situations that were just, stagnant, stalled, come to a pause because people were not ready to talk. So you might see people around you that are more clear, more decisive in their words and actions. For some of you, this could be in regards to your family itself. Maybe some people been holding back from saying, from reaching out to you or saying something, and now finally they're ready to do so. For some of you, this could be like you and some family members together. You've been thinking, going back and forth, contemplating. Maybe it's a decision to buy a house, to buy a store, to start a business, to relocate, whatever that is, or to take a job or to change careers. Somebody you have been talking, going back and forth, contemplating. I feel now there is a chance that you will finally make the decision, and all that going back and forth will finally be completed, and there will be a final conclusion. Now, and for some of you, this could also be at work, where things have not been moving, projects maybe have not been approved, or there are some signatures, approvals that are have been pending for weeks and days. But I feel that now is a green light, and things will start moving forward. I also feel the Gemini, especially for those that are working in corporate or in offices, that feel that people are valuing what you bring to the table, your ideas, your thoughts, your skills, and maybe they've not been telling you that, and that's been putting you off for quite some time, but that might be just for a few of you. Now, for some of you, this can also be people of the past that have been contemplating, like, should I reach back out to Gemini? And the chances are that they might, high chances of people of the past that you have been not communicating with, they might just pop up. And for some of you, this Four of Cups could be that people around you, your friends, they're there, but they're not really there. They're like, distracted or not in the moment, not talking to you, distracted with their phones, thinking about something. Maybe they are talking, they're saying something, but it's not like the conversation that you would like to have, it's not like an emotional, connected conversation. And for some of you, if there are people around you that are not in your court or on your side, that have been causing some kind of chaos or, causing some kind of confusion, or doubting your decisions. Maybe like you've decided something or you're almost deciding, you're very close to, having an answer or deciding an approach or a direction. And then somebody comes and says, are you sure? Kind of creating that self-doubt or kind of a doubt. So, for some of you, there could be some distraction. So be mindful of that as well. So I do feel that now, Gemini, it's time to, step into your element boldly, to apply yourselves, to apply your decisions. Take that first step, whether it's in terms of property assets, buying assets, meaning you've been researching, thinking, contemplating, and all of that, and waiting for the rates to go up and down, especially with stock and financial investment. Then I feel it's the time for you to go for it. Go take the plunge. The only thing is, be mindful of any kind of impulsive financial decisions. It's like, for some of you, I'm feeling like a FOMO might kick in, like fear of missing out. Like, okay, other people are investing into that stock or that asset, and I should also go and invest. So don't invest, especially when you're investing out of FOMO or of some kind of fear of missing out. The next card you have, Gemini, is Joy Harjo, and below it says bravery. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Joy Harjo, she has served in the Poet Society, what's that called? U.S. Poet Laureate, yeah, for a long, long time. And she was like she played the saxophone. She was a poet. She's a poet, very much respected, and she went through a lot in her like younger days. She went through a lot of challenges, but then she has written a lot of books. I remember reading her book, and it's called Remember. Yeah, it's a beautiful, books and write-ups. She is one of the most important, people in the American history, for literature. And, so she has been through a lot. Now, if you see in the picture, she's wearing this earthy colored skirt from which the flowers are blooming. And then there are these two horses on either side of her. And then there is this figure which is falling from above the sky. It's such a beautiful, symbolic card. There's a lot of, horses are basically symbols of power. They're very powerful, horsepower and all of that. They're very powerful. They also stand for freedom symbolically. So I feel that with all of these plants that are growing directly from her skirt, or you can call it part of her, she becomes the garden. She's the garden. She's not standing in a garden, she becomes the garden. And the small figure, which is falling from the sky, is also her. It's her smaller version of her, which I feel is a past version of her. She has come a long way. And here the title is bravery. Now, this is not like a military bravery or warrior bravery. This is the bravery, the strength to survive a situation, or the society or the societal norms that at that point in time were kind of, not designed for women's freedom, that were meant to, those times, that era, the societal, what do you call, the conditions or whatever that was, it was meant to keep you small. But she survived a lot of trauma, and she came out on the other side, so much stronger, that she she accomplished so much. I already mentioned about her accomplishments, and she came out from really bad conditions, something that almost destroyed her. And she got the strength, the courage to stand up for herself and to show up in the world, because the systems that were around her were not favorable, were not favorable to support her. And she refused to play small. She's like, I will not be reduced to my tiny self, the tiny self that's fallen from the sky. So not only did she survive and she, stood up for herself, but she bloomed in those difficult conditions. And that's what bravery is all about. It's not about escapism or running away from your current situation. It's about thriving and growing and blooming in your current situation. Now, the horse spirit also reminds me of Gemini, like, two signs, two horses out here, two different perspectives. I'm also getting a very ancestral energy, so I feel that, it's something about your lineage, your ancestors, something that you might be drawing in from them, maybe your family history or something around ancestors, We carry the DNA, we propagate it, generation after generation, and something, or the other in each of us gets sourced from our ancestors. So Joy Horjo here, in this case, I feel has sourced that bravery into her current situation. Now, it's going to be different for each one of you, but I feel that this is also something that probably you are sourcing from your ancestors or from your lineage, the courage, the bravery. Now, I feel for you, Geminis, your ability, because you're an air sign, you're a mutable air sign. So, everybody, for the most part, the Gemini or the collective Gemini sphere is about, doing too many things, juggling too many things. It's like you're the mutable sign. You adjust, you have like different perspectives, different hats you wear, different personalities that you probably carry in different situations. And I feel that right now is your bravery. It's your ability to be too many things at the same time. I feel that is your bravery at this point in time. And for Joy Harjo, again, she was like a writer. Writing is all about the air, processing the thoughts. She was also a musician. She played the saxophone. She was a poet. She's a poet. She's a poet. She, there's a lot of poetry has been doing for a long, long time. So it's all about vocalizing. The weight that your words carry. You could be writers, you could be creatives, you could be into music and, having convey some kind of a thought or an emotion through your words or singing or poems or something like that. Everybody has their own language of communication. I feel that this energy is also asking you to be brave enough to put out that into the world, to say what you have to say, to sing what you have to sing, to write what you have to write. And if you see here, these flowers are bright red, it's like the fire in you refuses to be small. It's like no one or no external system or expectations will bring you down. Your fire will not be put out by any means. But at the same time, because this is a lot of earth element, you see this, the brown skirt, the flowers, it's a very rooted energy. So I feel that Gemini, your superpower is not just about being bold and courageous, but also being rooted to your, rooted in your culture, in your family lineage, rooted in every way, in your system, in your thoughts. Stay rooted, but at the same time, don't let anything or anyone put out the fire that's in you. You need to say, you need to convey whatever you need to say. And when you say it, speak from your heart. Like anything that you speak, which is personal, related to you, your roots, your ancestors, like something about you, because all Geminis are not going to be the same. They feel differently. They do things differently. The energy might be almost the same, but the way each person responds, interprets, processes, it's going to be different in terms of the communication, the words you choose, your personal experience, your life journey. Everything is going to be unique to you. So have that courage to say things from your heart, something which is really rooted in reality, which has a personal touch to it. And you know what they say about bravery? Bravery is not the absence of fear. I'm sure you all have heard that. It's not the absence of fear. It's the ability to be afraid and still do the thing anyway. In your case, it could be anything. You could be afraid of writing, still write anyways. You could be afraid of speaking, speak anyways. You could be afraid of singing, sing anyways. So that's what bravery is, to feel that fear and still do it. I mean, in a good way, for the good things, not, jump off the cliff. That's not what we're talking about, not that kind of bravery, but, in terms of expressing yourself, in terms of the craft, doing things that are good for you, for your growth, something that people will listen to you, that will shine a spotlight on you. Don't do anything that will risk you, of course. It's not about risk-taking here. It's about having the courage to break your own mental barriers. So I do feel that this is related to your throat chakra in some way. It's about opening it up. It's about clearing and, attending to your throat chakra. Once you start speaking, singing, writing, it's going to clear off any chakra, throat chakra blockages that you have been feeling. And even the planets right now are supporting this, speaking your mind out. Despite maybe people are not appreciating that you will speak up, but you still speak anyways, because Mars is in your sign right now, Gemini. And I feel Mars is the warrior. It's the planet of bravery, it's of courage, of putting in the work of action. And that's in Gemini right now. So that's going to give you a forward push. It's going to give you the energy to put in the work, to take the next steps, for taking the right actions forward. And guess where Mercury is your ruler? It's in Aries. Aries is all about, Aries is the first sign. So when your ruler Mercury is in Aries, it's like, go, speak your mind, be bold. Aries is like, speak first, say first, do first, think later, that kind of an energy. But here you are also being supported by your ancestors. There's a huge ancestral push over here, support over here. I feel even the bravery, the courage is somewhere associated with your ancestors. Maybe you had a family of people that were bold, courageous. Even these horses are all about power, power to speak, to be free, to feel free enough to speak. And Jupiter being in Cancer, which is again your neighboring sign, I feel that you're having that huge support and push from your ancestors. Cancer is Cancerians. Cancer is the fourth house of family, of ancestors, and home and all of that. So with Jupiter and that, there is an expansion in blessings around that. And also, this bravery is all about, incorporating into your personality, into your every single day practice. Not just one heroic act, like, okay, let me go kill that cockroach. That's not what we're talking about. It's the bravery that you need to, become a part of. It has to become a part of you. Everyday things, the actions you do, everything that you do has to come from this place of being brave. So you have to be brave every single day, Gemini. So I feel in the next few days, it's good time for you, Gemini. It's like you already know what to do, what to say, what to write, whatever it is. You've rehearsed it probably so many times, maybe with people, maybe by yourself in front of the mirror. You've done it, practice and all of that. So that's done. Now you need to take the action, say it, do it, whatever is your case over here that needs bravery, do it, say it. Whether it's the bravery that's required in your relationships or in your career or in your side gig or in your family, whatever this is, or it could be one and all. Now, for some of you, this could be a pull, like towards ancestors, learning about them, your family history, your family lineage, something about your culture. This could be for some of you that those emotions get triggered, that, that you start researching, learning, talking to people, learning up more about your family history and things like that. And music or writing could be somewhere related to it. Or maybe you're hearing music that's related to your family, your culture, or, something like that could be possible for some of you. Or it could be something about your family lineage, some kind of a tradition, custom, or arts, a craft, or some kind of recipe that you want to learn and pass it down. It could be for some of you, or this could be related to your ancestral place. Maybe you're visiting there, maybe you're buying homes around that, or learning about that place, or just visiting the place. This can also be connection to, your friends and the family and cousins and people that are from your culture, from the place where you grew up, or people that knew your grandparents or they were there, or something like that. You could be connecting with people of your culture, your family roots, and things like that. Now, if this is not your energy, Gemini, you probably see that people around you are more bolder in their choices, in their opinions, in how they do things, in what they say. Maybe they've been holding back for long, and now they're, finding the courage in them. Maybe because they've seen you bold up, So this energy of bravery is contagious. So maybe people around you are also drawing from your source of bravery and being strong enough to say things, to do things, to take initiatives, to be more direct than ever before. So you might be seeing this play out in the environment around you as well. And the last card for today, Gemini, you have is a message from Cosmos, and it says, prioritize self-healing right now. Put your needs above others for once. It's time to focus on you. Self-healing takes time and a lot of self-love. Remember, open wounds don't heal into scars overnight. Take the time you need in order to feel happier and healthier within yourself. There is no rush. Yeah, so Gemini is like, multitasking, like taking care of so many things, wearing so many hats. It zaps the energy out of you. And then you have no time to look at your own needs, whether it's health, emotional, spiritual, whatever that is. And the universe is directing your focus. Be brave enough to focus on yourself, to do things for yourself, to express yourself. You might, if you are in situations that feels oppressive or kind of constricted, then this is asking you to be brave enough, because speaking up for yourself, expressing who you are, what you want, is also part of self-care. So if you have been wounded in the past, if there is something that's bothering you, it's also time to look after yourself, to heal, to do things that will help you heal. So that, once our heart chakra is healed, Gemini, then the rest of us is healed, because I feel that the wounds are wounds and, negative experiences, they impact our heart chakra the most, the organ that drives us. The heart center needs to be cleared of all blockages. So whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, listen to music that floats your boat, or do a dance, or walk around in nature, or go for a swim, or take a salt bath, whatever that is that will cleanse you of that energy. Visualize all of those negative experiences, those scars, those wounds leaving you. Visualize you becoming healthier, that's your vision board. That's part of self-care practice. So right now the universe is emphasizing that you take care of yourself. Be brave enough to make time for yourself, to save the things that you've been holding back. Because once you're happy, once you're healthy from within, then, that's where everything starts to work in favor of us. So Gemini, those were your messages, and hope you enjoyed them. Now moving on to the sign of Libra. The first card you have, Libra, is the Queen of Wands. But it's in the reverse for you. Now, Wands is the fire suit, and you are the air suit. you're the cardinal air sign. So it's the beginning of the air suit. And the Queen of Wands herself is the water energy plus the fire energy coupled into one. And if you see the girl here, or the princess, with her beautiful violet robes, she's holding this wand, but her eyes are closed. So she's focusing on the inner world, on her inside. She's focusing on what she knows, what she feels. And that's what I feel with this Queen of Wands reversed for you, Libra. It's like the fire that you flame other people, It's like you put out into the world. You support people. You support other people's initiatives. You give to a lot, relations, friends, and supporting everybody, their initiatives. But then you have nothing left for yourself. It's like something that you have been wanting to work on is always put on hold because you're meeting other people's demands. And I feel now that fire you are turning inside of you, within yourself. You're looking at what you want. You're the queen, not just because you wear a crown. It's not about performance. It's not about what you present to the world or how much you give to the world. It's that you need to direct that fire inwards towards yourself. What do you want? How do you want it? You don't have to wear the crown to feel like a queen. You are the queen no matter what. And I feel this fire and this reversed energy is actually teaching you that. It's telling you something about yourself, that you don't need to perform for the people to feel like a queen or to show yourself as a queen. And it's a good energy, I feel like. Generally, Queen of Wands is like, not doing anything, not having the energy to do anything. But I feel that this, especially with this deck, it's a very deep meaning. It's a deeper meaning. It's not like the queen is not performing or is not able to do things and has lost the fire. No, the fire is turned inwards towards turning to your own self. It's a very deep message out here with this deck. I really appreciate this deck for the messages. So I feel that whatever you're being honest with yourself. What do you like? What flames your fire? What are you interested in? And I feel that's going to come out. You're going to express it in exactly that way, not just to keep the peace or to support people. You're going to say it as it is. And, some things that you might say or do might even, kind of surprise people like, oh, Libra, you're not like this. You wouldn't say this. You wouldn't do this. But now you're like, hey, you know what? It's my wish. I mean, this is who I am at the core. So this is a great energy for you here. Libra, I feel that you're balancing out your inner world. You're trying to conserve this energy, and it's you're wisening up. Because if you lose out the fire, if you burn out, what are you going to do for yourself? Who's going to do it for you? Who's going to take care of the things that you need to do? So I do feel that you are kind of taking care of things for your own self. You're kind of figuring out that you need to take care of your things first before you give out all your energy to other people and other tasks. You have a life too, that you have things to do too. And, the collective Libra energy is all about, keeping peace, doing this, that, and the third, bending over backwards for other people, very social sign. So, it kind of burns you out at the end of the day. It's like you don't have an energy to put in for your own self. So I do feel that this is a time, the next few days and weeks, where you are preparing for something. You're working on your own self, maybe for your own, for your own skills. Maybe you're working on your own skills, and or maybe you're studying something, or maybe if you're working, if you have a career, maybe you're preparing something, maybe a test, exam, upskilling, whatever you are doing. I feel that that's going to work in your favor. That's going to uplift you. That's going to give you a better job, rather than you being consumed by other people's things and participating in other people's activities and events and not giving any time to your own efforts. You're putting that work into yourself now, or you will be doing that in the next few weeks. And I feel that will pay off in the big time, in a big, big way, because your 10th house is that of Cancer, and Jupiter right now is in Cancer. It's transiting to the Cancer, which is your 10th house of career. and of, visibility and your how people see you, your social network and all of that. So Jupiter being out there, it's being, there is this time of expansion, of growth in your career, in your side gigs, whatever that is for you. There's growth and expansion which is waiting for you. So I do feel that this energy of going inwards and taking care of your own things, of your own inner world, of your own life, is going to benefit you. It's going to pay off in a big way for you. Now, I also feel some of the Libras might be stepping up to, be more direct rather than beating around the bush or a kind of, what do you call, I feel you be more direct, like you want to say it as it is. You want to say what you're feeling rather than holding it all back. I feel you're going to speak your truth about what you're feeling and what you really want. Now, some of you, this is an energy where if it's down to your own personal energy, Libra, it could be happening around you. It's like we all know about the corporate pressure, a few years back, there was this quiet quitting moment that happened, a movement that people were kind of, not wanting to work, like 18 hours a day and all of that, especially the corporate culture back then a few years back was kind of too much performative. You have to work so hard. You have to, get the views and good raise and status and all of that. And I feel that people are realizing that it's not worth it. You're getting burnt out. And still the companies, the companies don't care when it comes to their own profitability and number games. Then, sometimes they don't care, who's fired, who's still there. It's kind of how the corporate world works. And some people, or maybe people around you, Libra, you're feeling that they're realizing that even after putting so much work, there's nothing to be gained. So when that performance, when that aha moment, strikes, like, okay, there's no use of, working too hard and performing and working for performance reviews and all of that. I'm just going to look after myself. So some of you could be quitting corporate jobs just to look after yourself. There's a lot of healing therapies, modality, and spiritual, taking care of your own self, your health, therapy, meditation, and all of that. It's a movement that also is, it's booming these days. A lot of people are wanting to take care of themselves, not just burning out for, bringing profit to other companies and other people, they're more on like, no, I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to work only those many hours. I'm not going to keep it under pressure. I'm going to also meditate. I'm going to take care of myself, walk, run, exercise, do whatever I need to do in order to take care of myself. So that's the Queen of Wands. So some of you could be in that energy, or you could be seeing people around you in that energy. Now, for some of you, this could be that you're working on something. You're like less attending to people, less available to people because you're working on your own goals. Maybe you're upskilling. Maybe you're learning a craft. Maybe there is something that you're working in your own private space that you're not ready to reveal it to the world until you're fully there yet, or until you're fully mastered that craft or upskill or got a certificate or something like that. So some of you could be quietly working on your own skills and crafts and things like that. So I'm getting a little bit of an incubation phase, like where things are still working up, you're working wonders, and you're not ready to show it to the world as yet. So some of you could be in that energy, or you could be working for companies that is not ready to announce the launch or tell people or tell the world as yet. So it's a kind of an incubation period. So some of you could be working in that environment as well. For others of you, you could be in the energy of, like, okay, sometimes, our external environment is like, no, don't do this, don't do that. People don't approve of our choices, of our careers, or of, whatever we want to do. Like, we're constantly seeking that approval. Like, okay, if people, give me 100 likes, then it's an idea worth pursuing, or I did a great job, or I did this well, only if I get those likes and shares. Now you're like, I'm not going to perform for the social media. I'm going to do what sits right with me. I'm going to create things that I want to do, not what people want me to do. Yeah, there was this movement recently of artists and all the creators where they were working on how algorithm performs, but now they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do things that I do for myself, that I would create for myself, that sits well with me. That's my idea, not what the algorithm or not what people would like to see from me. So there is that certain shift, like, I'm not going to do because people want me to do a certain thing. I'm going to do it only because I want to do it. So that's the kind of Queen of Wands energy reversed. And for some of you, this could be, like, you could be working on things that that maybe you wanted to, but because, life happened and you got pulled and pushed in different directions, maybe some responsibilities and all of that, you had to quit doing what you were doing sometime back, or maybe a few years back or a few months back. Now you're like, okay, I've done enough and I've been doing for everybody. I've been pulled and pushed in different directions. I've been stressed in what about my goals? What about my hobbies? What about my side gigs? What about the things that I wanted to do? So now you're kind of making space for that and returning to things that you've been wanting to do for yourself. So I'm also seeing a lot of your ideology shift around what relationships are. Sometimes we come across people and friends, family that are, that take so much from us. And then later on, when it's their turn, they don't even, reciprocate the same way that you did to them. So some of you might be kind of pulling away from those dynamics as well, reassessing, like, why should I give my energy to this person when I go and get it back? So some of you might be in that analysis phase in regards to the people around you, in terms of how much you put out and how much you get back, because Libra is a sign of balancing scales, and unless things are balanced, it's very hard to stay in that energy of giving when you're not getting anything back. So some of you might be analyzing your relations in regards to that as well. So I do feel that there is a shift, maybe in your attitude, the way you present yourself, the way you do things for other people. You're like, no, I keep burning out. So I'm not going to be, I'm not going to present myself as somebody who always light other people's fire, who is the centerpiece, who has to carry the weight of entertaining people on their shoulders. No, for once, I want to be entertained. So kind of a shift in your perception, in your identity, in the way you do things and the way you carry yourself and the way you appear and appear to people. Something around that might be changing as well. Your personality might be undergoing some transformation with this Queen of Wands reverse energy. You're like, I can do this, I can handle it, because, especially even in leadership positions, it's like they always have to look a certain way, do a certain thing, people please, and all of those things to work around the problems, to work around, especially in the corporate culture or high pressure environments. They kind of get into the energy of doing things even they don't want to do, just to keep that fire burning, just for the performance, and just, constantly burn out because people see a certain way. You have to talk to everybody. You have to organize things. You have to be the life of the party. You're like, no, for once, I want to be who I am. So you're kind of looking inside and seeing what makes you a person that you don't have to perform. You don't want to be performative. You want to be who you are. You want to be like for who you are internally, not for what people want you to be to them. So I do feel a huge transformative energy for you, Libra. But just because you're tending to your own fire doesn't mean that you're any less, or people don't see the change, or people don't see what you bring to the table. It's not about being loud and advertising what you create and how you do things. People are still there observing that you're doing a great job, but you're not being loud about it. You're not advertising. So people are recognizing that, or will recognize that in the near future. And for once, you'll kind of see a shift in your social circle, like meaning the people who are used to a certain type of you might feel distant from you, or people who, you might welcome people, or you might see people who vibe more with who you are turning into, who come into your energetics here. So you might see a little subtle shift in the people that you prefer to surround yourself with, or the people that are, feeling distant from you, or people that are feeling more, closer to you, or vibing more with you. You might see a little bit of shift and change in your social circle as well. And I also feel that you are becoming more bolder with your choices. It's like you're not going to tolerate anybody who dims your light. You're not going to tolerate any kind of, you're not going to change your taste for to accommodate people's opinion. Like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to wear this, you like it or you don't like it. So a little bit of boldness coming through as well. But it's a good thing in a good way. And I feel that you becoming independent, you becoming, it's like having your own authority is very important. And I feel that you're building it in your day-to-day life, in your decisions, and the way you do things, trusting yourself better, trusting your inner knowing better. Caring less about other people's opinions is something that I feel that you're going to work on. Tend to yourself on a daily basis, and that's what's going to keep your inner flame and fire constantly fired up. Now, for some of you, this could be that your taste is changing. Like, you prefer something else because it was like, especially in terms of homes, I've seen a recent shift in the taste of people. Like, they're not chasing status, also certain kind of bill. They're more choosing homes with more character that makes them feel alive. The color, the choices, the things that they put inside the house, and all of that, they're choosing according to their taste. What keeps them feeling alive versus what they need to show to the world, So people, their taste in terms of how they dress up, where they live, how they live, all of that is undergoing a transformation. For some of you, that could be true, or you could be seeing that happen around you. The next card you have, Libra, is Toni Morrison, and it says your power. So exactly, this is just an extension of your Queen of Wands energy reversed, right? It's like having the power to say things as it is. We already saw that there was a shift, a transformation in the way you present yourself. More directness is something that you might be up for in the next few weeks, or maybe this is something that you're integrating in your personality. Because sometimes what happens is, Libra, you're the sign of balancing scales, of keeping it gentle. You're ruled by Venus, softening the blows and all of that, not saying things as it is, not being too direct. So even though you're saying some things, or you might be speaking your truth, or you might be saying something more powerful, but it doesn't land because you cushion it with soft words and your gestures and all of that. And I feel that you're kind of changing the way you talk. You're kind of working on, like, if I have something to say, I make sure that it lands powerfully, not that everybody heard me, but nobody's responding because, I cushioned it up. You're trying to balance it out. You're trying to be nice, gui. So I feel something around that is going to shift, where you're going to get the power to say things honestly as it is. Some uncomfortable things that need to be spoken, that might just come, out of your mouth, and you're like, where did that come from? So you might be seeing, things like that happen as well. For some of you, this could be that you're writing something which is very personal and you wanted to share. You haven't been able to, you didn't have the power, you didn't have the courage, but now you are ready to share that with the world. Whether it's on social media, or whether you're writing a journal, or whatever it is, some kind of truth, some kind of personal project that you're willing to share with the world. Maybe maybe it's an idea you've been working on and it got shut down by people around you because, they're like, no, this is not good. This won't benefit anybody, or things like that. Maybe your ideas were kind of brushed off and you've been working on it, and now you're ready to present that or bring that out. Maybe it's a project, maybe it's a presentation, and maybe it's speaking the truth, maybe it's highlighting the problems, and you've made a list. You're like, these are the problems. I cannot overlook it. I cannot hide it. I cannot contain it. So I am going to go do the presentation. I'm going to tell people that this is how it is and things like that. So a kind of a whistleblower energy. Because if you see, there are ribbons which is floating on Toni Morrison's head, and Toni Morrison is again a literature person. She's been she has been a literature laureate. In that she's done a lot of work. She's written a lot, some uncomfortable truths that she wanted to tell the world, and sometimes she got a backlash, or she got like, her ideas or books kind of got banned and things like that. But that she did it no matter what, I mean, even if it was uncomfortable, she still managed to get her word out, her message out. So for some of you, it could be that, like, you might be growing a backbone. It's like you are expressing yourself, what you need, your preferences, and you're not being diplomatic about it, and people are like, okay, Libra never did this before. Libra was like, put everybody else before themselves, and now they're putting themselves, um, you know, ahead of others. So there might be a sudden shift of this kind that people might be surprised or shocked even. For some of you, this could be some kind of content that you consume in, maybe books that you're reading or something that clicks something inside of you. You're like, ooh, now I understand. Maybe I should do this, that, and the third. Maybe, you are not aware of something, or something kind of hits you really hard and that changes things up inside of you. Now, for some of you, this could be something that you have been working on or you are working on. And I feel that, with Toni Morrison, her work was appreciated, read, and understood after decades of her writing the book, So it was like, she got the award, she got recognized a long time after her work was out there. So for some of you, you could be building on something, you could be writing something, creating something that might not be recognized immediately, or it could be, I'm not saying to, we're living in a very fast world of social media, past promotions and marketing versus those times, and Toni Morrison was actually putting her work out. So we're in a different era now. So even if you don't get that kind of success immediately, or overnight success or overnight viral, I feel that over a period of time, your work will get recognized. It might even go viral after a few months of you creating it, or a few years of creating it. I don't know what it is. You're writing a book, or you're creating music, whatever that is for you. Something that you create might get a delayed start or a delayed recognition, but when it comes, it's got to be really big for you. So for some of you, you could be taking up jobs or hobbies or skills that actually threw you out of your comfort zone, It's like a challenge you take up, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to face my fears. For some of you, this is the power that you are going to wield, like, to overcome your fears. For some of you, this could be not. I also feel that some of you Libras, you are going to get the clarity about something, like, who are you? What do you really want? What do you feel about a certain thing? Not forming opinions based on what you hear from people, or what you feel is fair to think or balanced to think. I feel that you're looking at the depth of things, like the true bottom core truth of things. And that'll give you a lot of clarity and understanding. And I feel that, the energy of this card is also to speak truth with so much honesty that it kind of is a freedom, it causes freedom, makes you free, because now you're not holding back on your truth. And also it frees up somebody else, because they hear the truth, which actually frees them in some way. So I feel that this is like a freedom kind of time. Like when you say you feel free, or you're, feel lightweighted, and when somebody hears your truth, they feel light as well in some way. Because, there is this knife which is sitting on the butcher's block for Toni Morrison, and knives are all about cutting through noise, cutting through BS. I feel you're doing that, you're not pretending to be somebody that you're not. You're not pretending to like something that you want. You're really upfront and honest, and that's really good, that kind of, that level of honesty, it speaks of your clarity. And I feel that you prefer it like this, and you also prefer when other people are that honest with yourself, it's like, cut out the fluff and say it as it is. So there is a shift. You're not in your element, yeah, because Libras are more like formative, diplomatic, and all of that. And now you're completely against. So something is transforming. I feel Libra. There's a lot of planet in your opposite sign of Aries, and I feel that might be causing this shift. Because Aries is your opposite sign, and the energies of both the houses that are opposite of each other, they are really transformative. They work with each other, So Aries is upper and direct, and it has a lot of planets. It's housing a lot of planets, and I feel that's impacting the way you do it. I feel the Aries energy is directly impacting you, Libra. And that's a good thing, The axis, the opposite houses will always benefit from each other. So Aries is like self, directness ensured by Mars, and you are all, like balanced and diplomatic and all of that. And with all of the planetary alignments, I feel that's impacting the way you think is, and you're kind of turning into an Aries for the next few days, or maybe it's a permanent change. Because if you have any Aries, around you, you'll see how honest and upfront and open they are with their words. They don't hide anything, There's like whatever is in their heart, whatever they're thinking, they just spew it out. They don't fluff it. They don't balance it. They don't use, soft words or sweet words to say. They just deliver as it is because they know, they understand the importance of being direct. So you might be being more direct with people, or you might be saying things, confessing things, or kind of, because you're going to say it as it is. Like, people will trust you better than, you beating around the bush or, being diplomatic. Yeah, I feel that things are going to, people are going to see your directness and they're going to trust you more. Like, okay, Libra has the ability to be direct, to be honest and upfront, and it's not always trying to balance the scales or be nice and diplomatic, So that's a good thing, to come out of Librans. It's gotta be well received. Now, for some of you, this is just for a very small portion of you, Libra. What I'm picking up is that some kind of a conversation, whether with your friends or with your family, I'm feeling for the most part with your family. They might talk, you might be meeting up with the family or talking on the phone, whatever that is, and something might come up, a subject or a topic or some past experience or conversation situation that, that might be related to you or the past, you or your family or your ancestors, or something that, maybe a shared family topic or something like that comes to your attention and you figure something out. Maybe just somebody just randomly, not for informing you or letting out a secret, not in that aspect, but it's just like a conversation that you probably did not know about, or maybe you see a picture or you ask a question about a family or a picture where was it taken and all of that, and it, it all ends up in a conversation that, starts with something else, but in the end, something gets revealed. Because there are ravens out here on Toni Morrison's head. Ravens are like, they're messengers, and they're also about, getting the truth out, looking at the truth, getting the truth out, pulling the truth out. That's what ravens do. So something might come out, maybe in relation to your family or your friends, or something of the past that you were not aware about. Maybe it's about how this happened, or how this, that, and so you might learn a thing or two about yourself based on the information that you get about your family. So I do feel a lot of inner work that's going on for you, Libra, which is very good. And I do feel that, just be mindful of people in your team or around you that have a specific idea or narrative about you, like who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Because with these changes, I feel like a different person is, is coming out of this. And it might be uncomfortable for people that were kind of used to seeing you a certain type of way, to accommodate to a new changing person, right? A new changing character. So just be mindful of those people, because, accepting the newer version is a little bit hard for some people, especially those that have some preferred narratives about us. So be mindful of a kind of pushback on your new version as well. I don't let other people's opinion, take that away from you in any way. Now, for some of you, this is also a time to document what you have been doing, what you saw, and all of that, having these receipts, kind of noting it down or, so that you're able to produce the facts, because when we keep it in our head, it kind of vaporizes in a period of time. We forget what the truth was. So I feel that it's also encouraging you to write down things, so that later on when you have to refer to a situation or what happened and you have the details about it, you will get the clarity once it's fully documented. So, because Toni Morrison was like, she wrote it. When you write it, the thing is permanent. When you speak it, sometimes you go forget, sometimes remember, there are edited versions and all of that. So when you write it down, you create that as a permanent statement, So document everything. You might need it in future. I'm not saying it's going to be required, but you might need to refer to it, or you might need to submit it, or you might need to kind of look back at it, maybe just in general, nothing specific. That might help you later on in the future. For some of you, this might be creating some kind of intellectual property that you're working on, something that your company will benefit from. So you're writing out all the steps and all of that, the processes, so that, it's intellectual property for that company, or it could get, passed down to the people that are going to join. It's going to be easy for them to understand and things like that. For some of you, you could be working on detailing or writing down the details about something. I also feel that, Libra, you might be working on things that will go a long way. Maybe you pass it down to the next generation and next and next and next. And, something that is a legacy that's worth passing down, something that you can be proud of without being embarrassed about, something that will propagate over generations, that's going to stay for a long time. Yeah, you could be working on something like that as well. Maybe you're investing into things that's going to get passed down or inherited by you or by the next generation or something like that, something that is good, something that is right, something that is true for you. I feel that you're not in any mood to compromise anything about anything. If it doesn't sit well with you, it doesn't. Even if the rest of the world is investing in it, if it doesn't sit well with you, you're on guard for the time, energy, or investment into it. And the last card for today, Libra, you have is a message from Cosmos, and it says, I need you to be excited again. I need you to remember you're not in this thing alone. I'm working on your challenges. I've already assigned angels to you. So let go and the stress and just trust me. I've got a pretty incredible ending in store. In fact, that's why you need to get excited again, because the happy ending I've got coming is going to rock your world. So yeah, the Queen of Wands in the reverse, some things kind of shook you up a little bit. You're like, that's why you're making those changes, something that kind of you read, heard, or saw that kind of put your energy inwards, like directed inwards, like, understanding who you are at the core, you might have encountered some challenges, while you're working on things. Maybe people challenge your ideas, or they shut it down, or they're not in agreement, or they're against it, and things like that. So maybe those are the challenges that you're facing, but help is on the way. The universe is supporting you. The universe knows your truth, and they know that you have the power to bring it out into the world, to speak it out. And, while the society pressure and all of that, I'm getting an energy of creating a diamond under pressure. You might be under pressure, but what you'll create is something marvelous. You might be stressed out about it. Maybe people are not supportive and they're not helping you, or they're against you, or something like that. But the universe is supporting your initiative. And maybe you're thinking all negative, that it's not going to go well and people are going to be against you. They're not going to receive it, and there's going to be backlash, or there's going to be fire thrown at you and all of that. Or you might be under fire for doing and saying things. But here, the universe is saying the ending is pretty incredible. You probably never thought that your idea or your opinion or your truth will be well received, and that something could come of it. So here, the universe is giving you a heads up to be excited again, because something that you're producing is going to go the distance. It's going to be appreciated for a long, long time. There's a happy ending to whatever you've been experiencing right now, which you probably are not positive about. So something that will surprise you and in a good way. So keep the power of doing it the way you want it, claiming it, and do it while being true to yourself, to your to yourself, to the people that you love. Yeah, and be bold while you express it. Don't hold back. Don't let anybody dim your light. So just be brave, not just to perform, but to know that to trust yourself, to have faith in what you're creating, and to just keep doing your work, because a happy ending is here, which you probably cannot see it. So Libra, those were your messages. Hope you enjoyed them. Now moving on to the sign of Aquarius. So the first card you have, Aquarius, is the Two of Swords, but it's in the reverse for you. Now you're the air sign and swords is the air suit. With it being in the reverse, if you see the picture above, it's a little bit of a heavy kind of an energy. There's a sunset, bright red colors. The sky looks like it's burning. So it's not like a very calm, soothing kind of a sunset. It's a little bit of a kind of a tense kind of a sunset. And the person over here is sitting with the armor, armors are all about protection. Feeling very exhausted. If you look at the way this person is sitting, seems like they feel defeated. They feel exhausted. Maybe there was some kind of a argument or a battle or something like that. It also could be that, Aquarius, I feel that maybe you made a choice or you saw something and now you're feeling the after effects of it. I feel kind of after effects. But if you see the picture below, it's a more cooler picture. There's moon, cool blue shades. And this person is not wearing an armor in the picture below. So I do feel that, and if you see the swords in the picture above, it's like planted into the earth. And in the picture below, there is like there's a drop that's falling off from the blade of the sword. So I do feel that you've been through some kind of a situation which was not pleasant, something that you felt like a battle, and now you're protecting yourself. I also feel that, when they say Two of Swords is like, not trying to make a decision, not looking, there is something that needs to be weighed, some pros and cons and all of that, or indecision. I feel in this deck, with the images and the message that's coming through is that this person is not just avoiding a decision, but this person is not wanting to make a decision because of what this person has been through. So something has already happened. It's not like it's going to happen. Something already has happened. And the sky, if you see, is burning because, something harsh, something heated happened. And I feel that there is a flag out here, right next to this person. So I feel that, Aquarius, you probably, made a decision or you decided on something, took a stance, committed to something. But I feel that now you are kind of moving away from it or not looking at it. Or maybe you're questioning, like, was it the right decision? Was it the right place, the right judgment, the right stance, or the right position? Whatever that is, I feel you're questioning your decision. So you did what you had to do, Aquarius, I feel. But now what has transpired, what has come out of that is something that, is heavy. That needs some kind of a resolution. So it's the result of the action now, which is in question, which needs to be resolved. Because I feel that, after everything is said and done, you had an aha moment. You understood something, but I think it was too late. You already took a side or you made a decision, but then later you figured something out, and now you're kind of wondering, like, how am I going to, you're not willing to look at the decisions. You're kind of backing away from it. So I feel that something got broken because this person on the top figure is sitting on a rubble, which means something broke. So, yeah, this person is not at ease with this decision. Something broke. But the good thing about this is, if you see the sword in the picture below, there is a drop which is falling off of the sword. And that's an interesting, image to see, because swords are hardcore solid. But there is a drop which is falling off of the sword. So it's a softening, a little bit of water energy that's coming in through, a little bit of emotional energy, little bit of things, the edge is cooling off, less rigidity, becoming more flexible, more soft. So things are now becoming clearer to you, Aquarius. Maybe you couldn't see something before, but now things are starting to be fully visible to you, especially because in the picture below there is a moon. The moon is illumination, seeing things. In the dark could be like you have some thoughts, like in the after hours, like in the later at night. Maybe something's bothering you, you're thinking overnight, not sleeping well. But this is a moment where you get the clarity. So maybe, in the later hours at night, you finally have that aha moment and see what you left behind. You have the full clarity now of what happened. Maybe when you were in it, you couldn't see it. But now, after you made a decision, after everything is said and done, you have better clarity. But this is a dichotomy for you, Aquarius, because the 11th house collective Aquarius energy is that of a visionary. You're the visionaries of the zodiac, right? So, you're the air sign. You're the one that is the, 11th house energy is more about revolutions and the intellectual, the ones who can see things that others miss out or don't see. So this is a little bit of a dichotomy here for you, because I feel that you've been fighting for something and, but I feel you do not have the complete information. And now, now maybe after, all of these heated arguments and, when things are becoming more calmer, you're able to see the picture. You're able to see things clearly, which you probably could not see when you are in the middle of that fight. And now things have become so clear that you cannot avoid seeing it. So I do feel that there was something that you had known subconsciously, but maybe you did not fully, it did not like really register with you. There was something, some information that you probably had deep down or in the back of your mind, but it did not register fully to you. And that's the thing I feel that you missed out, and you went into this fight, into this heated fight, and now you're like, oh, I see now. I see now what I did not see back then. So, over here, if you see the sword in the picture above, it's like a stance taken, it's hard fixated, or nothing will change. But gradually things are changing because there is like drops, falling off of this sword. There is a fluidity. There is a change which is happening, a softening which is happening. And the good part is that I feel Aquarius, whatever needs to be changed or decided, whatever it is, it's not going to be too hard. It won't require too much effort. You just need to be open to it. It won't require much effort. So I feel that with the new clarity that you have, which happened after the conflict, which was not easy, you're going to start feeling much better, more peaceful, I feel. So I do feel that maybe, you were all up in your head about things. You were kind of calculating options, all of that. You were, too much up in your head, in your thoughts and all of that. And I feel that you ignore what was in your heart. Maybe you were kind of, I don't know, you somehow overlooked what was in your heart or in your subconscious somewhere. Maybe you didn't want to get emotional or something like that. And that's why you just went all in and you turned your back to some kind of truth that was already known to you. But you were like, no, I'm not going to pay attention, or I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to turn my back to what I know, and you just fought your battle. But the good thing is that with the Two of Swords in the reverse, there is a decision now which you are ready to make. With the stalemate is going away, with the Two of Swords in the reverse, there is a shift. There is a tip. And the reason why this happened was, if you look at the picture below, it's like, it's standing straight. The sword in the picture above is not straight. Here it's a very softer energy with the sword. In the picture above, it's a more kind of a war kind of energy with the sword. So this is the clarity, it's like the clarity of the sword is being given, the clarity now you have because you're ready for it. You're ready to receive this clarity. That's why it's becoming more clear to you. Maybe a few days back or a few moments back, you were not ready to receive this decision or make this decision or choose a certain side or choose a certain thing. But now you're ready for it, and that's why you get the clarity. In TAURUS Tarot, if you know, the Two of Swords is the Lord of Peace restored. So you're in the reverse. It's almost the same thing. It's the peace that is restored through revelations, through you seeing things. It's not the temporary juice that, is created through the Two of Swords in the upright. Because the swords are still there. The decision still needs to be there. It's just two options that you can decide. But in the reverse, it's like something went out of balance. The options which you thought both were equal now are not equal. The one is weighing way more over the other. And The reason now you're ready is because you have the clarity and you're ready to receive it. And that's a good thing because now Aquarians are going inward. I feel you're tapping into your inner world, your emotions, your heart space. You're introspecting. The moon is all about reflections. So, now you're reflecting on things. And that's why you have the clarity, because you turned your energy inwards, which is a little bit, hard for the collective Aquarian energy. But I feel that you're tapping into your emotional intelligence now. Maybe you were under illusions or confusion, or people confused you, or you didn't have the facts, or something happened that got you into a fight. But now you see what things were for real. And I feel that the current planet, you're ruled by Saturn. Saturn right now is in Pisces, which is a mutable water sign. And Saturn is all about, it has rings, it's all about structure and discipline and all of that. So I feel that, with Saturn being in Pisces, it's creating that structure to your emotions. Like whatever you have been going through emotionally or feeling, but you couldn't tell exactly what that was. You couldn't put a finger on it and say that this is what I feel and this is how I feel. But with Saturn and Pisces, I feel that now you'll be able to name that feeling, what exactly you were feeling. You'll get a better picture of it. You'll acknowledge your feelings better. You'll know exactly what you were feeling. And also there is this Plutonian energy with this heart, and Pluto is the, is a planet that forces us to take off the blindfold. It breaks down structures. It's like, the Pluto is kind of energizing you. It's forcing you to remove any blinders, whether you like it or not. And I feel it's the push of Pluto that's actually helping you to resolve things. Now, I feel this is more related to either yourself or your house or something to do with family. Something in your personal life. I don't feel this is external. I mean, it could be, but for the most part, I feel that it's something to do with your own family, or maybe close friends, inner circle, or you just yourself. I don't think it's just yourself. I feel that for the most part, it could be family-related situation. But the good thing is that, now you will make a very sound, informed, emotionally connected resolution, which is good, and that could be about the people, the relationships, or it even could be like, which career choice or place of living. It could be something to do with that, where your family will live, or you will live. It could be something like that as well. But I feel that, the resolution is right out here. It's on you. It's being forced, because the truth now. So you're ready. You're ready to make the decision. You're ready to have those conversations. Something that you've been procrastinating for too long. Maybe you change your stance or you decide something else. And now you're like, no, I thought it was this way, but I'm going to go with the second option or the other option, whatever that is. And I feel that's going to make you feel really happy. And even the people around you will be really happy with this choice that you are making. Now, this can also be your business partnerships. Maybe things are not working and you are just holding from saying it, but just one day, it's the breaking point. You're like, I just cannot do this. And you have to tell it to the other person, like, no, we cannot do this together. So it could be something like that as well. Now, for some of you, if it's not related to your family, it could be related to your investments, your finances. Like something gets disclosed to you, a news article or some form or some fine print you read, or somebody gives you the information. And you're like, now I'm going to, have to make a different choice. So, of course, when you're hung up on things like, maybe you like a house, you're buying a house, and suddenly, you see there's a pipe leak or there is something else in the backyard you discover, or somebody tells you that, oh, this neighborhood, this, that, and the third is not good because of this, that. You have more information, and now you're like, you know what? The house is beautiful, but I don't think so. With all of this, I'm not going to go with this property. So something like that can also happen. And I feel this is going to be a good change, Aquarius. I feel that you're more connected to your own self now, going within, finding answers, acknowledging your feelings and emotions. It's like you're more connected, to your own self rather than just living in your head. You're more open-hearted now. You're more sharing, talking, not just very composed and, seeing limited things and all of that. I feel that there is a shift in your perception, in your persona as well. The next card you have, Aquarius, is a card of Flannery O'Connor. And it further says humanity. You look at the person in the picture. There is this woman with the collared shirt. And there's a peacock. She's resting her one arm on it. The other arm has a broken egg. And she's not hiding it. She's like actually showing it. She's offering it to someone, to the world. And then behind her, there is just a bare tree, no leaves, no decorations, just stripped to the bare. So I feel that, Flannery O'Connor itself, again, a very literate, honorable person in literature and writing a lot of books. She had a disease, lupus, which she never emphasized on. Like, she constantly was writing, but it was not that she attracted attention towards what she was dealing with or her limitations, of her health limitations. That was never on her agenda. Like, she did drop in hints, but she never wrote anything that would bring in a pity party for her. Now, if you see the peacock is like a beautiful, celebrated bird. And I feel that the eyes, which are the eyes on the peacock's tail, they're just like I feel like they are eyes that are watching this girl, this lady, Flannery, right? So it's like the eyes watching you, attention on you. You're seen with all of the quirks, with all of your quirks, I would say, the bare trees, like, there is nothing to pretend. There's no leaves, it's bare bones. So the people seeing you for what you truly are, with all of your good, bad, and everything in between. And you're allowing the world to look at you with those eyes. I feel that the humanity card, which is a general Aquarian quality, it's so right to your card here, Aquarius. So this is all about, you guys are all about community, support, invention, serving the community, helping elevate society and all of that. But here the humanity is actually asking you to look at a specific situation, a specific person, and find the humanity and all those ideals that the Aquarian collective has for that specific situation or for that specific person. So it's not about like, yeah, we're working for humanity, we're uplifting abstract causes, this, that, and the third, while you're not attending to people that are around you. You're not attending to your own personal goals, your own personal life, and the people that, are part of it. I also feel that, while Aquarians, you're the air sign, you're all about keeping it composed and all of that. But here, it's a little contrary to the general, perception of the Aquarian energy, because here it says not everything has to be perfect. You don't have to be perfectly presented all the time. we're all work in progress, and if something's broken, you don't have to, you know, cover it up, or you don't have to decorate it further so the crack is hidden. Here, the human card is asking you to be present with all of your cards and show what's broken is broken. Don't try to hide it. This person, this lady, O'Connor, is not really hiding the broken egg. So I feel that this is also encouraging you to, be able to receive. Like if this is not your energy, if this is not you with a broken egg, it could be somebody else, who's dealing with something wrong or something weird happening to them. So this energy is encouraging you to be compassionate with that person and not to look away. It's the energy of like when you're sitting with somebody, you're just on your phone attending to a cause of the community, like, uplifting the unprivileged, underprivileged. But here on the table, somebody's sitting right beside you, your family, your friend, and you're not paying attention to them. So here this energy is asking you to be attentive to the people that are around you, to fix those problems, should you have any, in your own personal life, family, your friends, or neighborhood. You need to attend to that cause. You need to get specific with your situation and see what's bothering you, what's broken, what needs to be fixed, what needs your attention. Don't cover up like, oh, everything's fine. No, it's not fine. You need to be able to see something's broken, accept it, that people do weird things, you do weird things, and then, try to resolve it from there. Be compassionate and resolve it from there. So I do feel that humanity is not about general cause. I mean, of course, Aquarians are always in that spirit of helping the community and uplifting spirit and all of that. But here, I think it's asking you to be looking at what's specific to your life, your environment, and fix that. Take a look at that, what's broken in your environment, in your personal situation. So if there is a problematic situation in your life, Aquarius, don't hide it. Don't brush it off. Let yourself see it. Let others see it. Show it to people that, yeah, something is broken. I'm not fine. I'm not well. Something needs to be fixed, adjust, and be compassionate all along the way with yourself and other people. And I feel that you will be able to do it. You're like, stripped out of the bare bones. There's bare trees over here. So that's going to help you fix those problems, to look at things that are broken and not brush it off. I also feel that this energy is encouraging you to be honest with what you say, how you say it. Don't hide it, don't hold back, because I feel that whatever you say, your words will have that weight. They will land. What are you trying to convey, the feelings, whatever you're trying to say, it's going to land. It's not going to be brushed off. It will be received, in good spirit. And in today's times, we're living where there's robots, there's AI and all of that. There's talks of takeover and robots being more than humans. No, there are some things that cannot be replaced by the robots. It's the human, it's the heart, it's the feeling, the emotion. There are some things that just simply a robot cannot replace. The human touch, the connection. The personal connection, the sharing of laughs and the jokes and, just being human. All of that cannot be replaced by AI or robots. Because we already know, like, when we replace human interaction with just phone, it's just the beginning. Phone, social media, we're constantly hooked onto it. We're following other people's lives. And so much more that we forget to interact with the people that are actually sitting around us. Humans need that human touch, the human voice, the human connection. Otherwise, it starts to feel. And because of that, because of our, increased interaction with phone and social media and all of that, the entire world is entering a period of, loneliness, the mental health crisis, because we're more hooked on to our phones than we are to people. We're more hooked on to other people's lives that are just random people that we don't even know, that we don't connect with, that we will never connect with. But here we are, disconnecting from people that are around us. So, and this is just the beginning, It's just the smartphone that we are here. Imagine the world being taken over by robots. So I do feel along those lines, Aquarius, I feel things are shifting, perspective is shifting. We already saw that with the Two of Swords reversed. You're starting to feel more. You're starting to connect with yourself at a human and emotional level more. You're coming out of your head. You're not intellectualizing everything or finding logic behind everything. You're like, okay, this is, humanity is, humanity comes only when we are human. Humans are quirky. They're different. They have their own set of problems. And when we accept people for what they are and still find the good in them, that's what humanity we're talking about. Not just working for abstract causes and things, but when you're from a heart space able to accept people that are around us, and still find the good in them, despite of their quirks, despite of what's broken in their lives. Instead of brushing that or turning our back, accepting it all and, still connecting and finding true beauty in those situations is what this energy is encouraging you to do. So I do feel there's a shift out here for you, Aquarius, that you will be able to find the good in the ugly as well. In the, most awkward of situations, you're going to find something positive. For some of you, this is also about looking at your own life, what's broken, what's limiting. I mean, sometimes we project that, oh, we're kind of, we got this, we know everything. But then, we don't look at our own limitations. Here, I feel that you're open to that, rather than projecting that, oh, nothing's wrong. I don't have any limitation. I can do this, that, and the third. I feel you're being really honest with yourself. And that's good, because not everybody is able to do everything. It's a situation where, like, for example, the Aquarian spirit, Aquarian energy is all about wanting to help people. And it's like you go out there in an institution or a network where you're out there to help people, and invariably you start actually connecting with people at the grassroots level. It's like you start understanding what people are actually made of. Everybody you come across teaches you something, tells you something about some aspect of human life, about human connections, which is difficult to process while you're just reading books. Like, we read so many things, but we cannot, see the impact of it until that thing becomes a reality, or we actually personally deal with the situation. Like, it's like, for example, if somebody saying, oh, this happened, and you're like, okay, you visualized it, and and then we have suggestions and ideas like, oh, this could happen, then this could happen, then. But being in that situation, like being, empathizing with that situation, and then feeling the pains, feeling what their situation was and where they're coming from, is something that humanity teaches us. So I feel that you're undergoing that kind of a transformation where you're actually understanding where people are coming from. They're broken, they're saying something, instead of theorizing everything and, creating an analysis or breaking things down or butchering things down. I feel that you're actually connecting to the underlying sentiment. You are seeing it, from your heart space, where they're from, whereas you earlier probably would just be like, trying to analyze it, make some notes, take some notes or advice. But here you're like fully empathizing, you're feeling it. So yeah, I do feel here, Aquarians, that there is a shift out here in your perception, in the way you do life, in the way you understand people, the way you interact with people, knowing that everything. Yeah, logic is good, but you cannot get through life just by being logical. You need that heart-to-heart connection, that human-to-human connection, and that's what humanity is all about. That's when people understand each other, when people stand up for each other, accept each other with all of the limitations, all of the cracks, then that's the most human world, that we can live in. Even now at times we do that. We're like, well, there's like everybody's hooked on to phone. There's a person standing right there. And then, we complain that we're bored and there's mental health and loneliness and all of that. I feel that we are just scrolling through things, of random people reading random news. See, the events in the world are, just gotta go on, because today we are connected through so many, channels. And I would say that there is no end to it. So we're so consumed by what's happening in the world that we forget what's happening in our world. We forget to talk to the person that's standing around us, or standing beside us, or sitting beside us, And the earlier times, I remember when there were no smartphones, nothing, people, would just, whoever is sitting beside, they would just, start a conversation, and then they could endlessly talk. I've been in that same place too. I've spoken to strangers for hours. Today, nah. So I do feel with this energy, things are shifting for you, Aquarians. Like, you're actually invested in the people. You're actually looking at the problems. You're actually spending time with them. You're actually looking at things that are not working right, feeling through it and seeing what is the next best action to attend to an issue. I also feel that you will look at people differently. You'll try to see the good in them. You'll try to find the good qualities in people that maybe you didn't appreciate earlier. With that, I feel that you will feel more connected to people. You're kind of knowing what's going on in their lives versus what's going on in the world. I feel that you're going to be more focused on the people around you and what's happening in their lives versus what's happening in the lives of random people in the world. And that's good, I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves. The sooner it is, the better it is for us. Now, if this is not your energy, Aquarius, you probably see people around you that are more invested in, got it? Sorry about that noise. So, you probably see people around you that are more invested into each other. They're talking more. They're, working as a team. They're actually talking while they're eating instead of scrolling on their phone. So you might see some changes show up around you. This can also be that somebody around you, like your friend or family, maybe they have something wrong, the practice that they are holding for you to see. Maybe they want to say something, they want to confess something, they want to tell you about some difficult situation that they have been holding back from sharing, because they probably saw that you just, kind of come up with your analysis rather than actually be there to hear them out and, just bring in some grace to the situation with just your kind and warm presence. Sometimes it's just being there and understanding and, just being there, hearing them out, works wonders. So I feel that when people see a shift in your personality and in the way you do things now, they might come up in the open and they might even share a thing or two about themselves. Now, for some of you, this could be, you'll see that people around you that have been pretending to be a certain type of way might, feel that, oh, you know what, now I'm going to just be myself. I'm going to be, whoever I am at the core. I'm going to stop performing, stop pretending, because I'm tired of putting up with the, Joneses, and I'm going to just be exactly who I am, at the core. So you might see some people shift around you as well. Now, for some of you, you'll also probably be able to provide solutions because now you're connecting one-on-one. You're seeing the depth. You're coming from, not from a generic perspective, but you're connecting to a specific situation. And you're able to do and say things that other people have overlooked. So it's like Yeah, we're talking in general about humanitarian problems and this, that, and the third, what's going on in the world. But when we actually tune into somebody's specific situation, maybe in your family, maybe in your friends, and then what comes out of our heart space is something which is very different from the generic solution to a generic problem. So some of you might be tuning into individual situations or people, and coming to my heart space, you're going to offer and say things that, are landing differently with people. And the last card for today, Aquarius, you have is a message from Cosmos, and it says, if you find yourself constantly seeing recurring numbers or words, it is a sign that you are being supported, cared for, and divinely protected by the universe. Beautiful things are about to happen to you. Yeah, there is a support. And, I already mentioned that in the Two of Swords reversed, you're getting clarity because you're ready to receive it, It only happens when you elevate yourself, your frequencies, You're ready to receive. Your heart is open. You're connecting emotionally. And I feel that's a lesson for the collective Aquarius energy, that to not be right up in your heads, to be more receptive, to connect with the moon-like energy, more softer, feminine, reflective, intuitive, emotional heart space energy, to connect more with that. And I feel that the universe is watching that shift happening in you, and it's like you are being cared for, because now you're elevating in frequency, you're being protected by the universe, and now because you're opening up, beautiful things are going to happen to you, the human-to-human connection, the humanity, the real humanity, coming from the real, Aquarians, which is known for its visionary goals, for, human problems and all of that. When it comes to personal interactions, and when you elevate that ways instead of just keeping it generic, uncomposed, when you're kind of looking at things, being, real with yourself, honest with the world, no pretenses, no ego, I feel that's when the universe, knows that you're divine. There's a divine in you, and you've recognized it, and the universe comes and, projects you. So beautiful things are about to happen for you, Aquarius. So those were your messages, and hope you enjoyed them. So thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe and hit the like if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.